Welcome, everybody. Welcome, everybody. Welcome, 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 welcome. I'm Pastor TK, and I am your host. I'm the senior pastor at Gospel Fellowship Christian Center Church, and we're located in the wonderful city of 29 Palms, California. I want you to sit back today. I want you to just sit back and, ladies and gentlemen, just relax because we are about to talk about something. This thing really hits home. It hits home for every single one of us because we're talking about that sneaky little thing. It's called disappointment. That's right, disappointment. Won't you say that word with me? Say disappointment. Disappointment. Say it again. Disappointment. Say it one more time. Disappointment. And let me tell you, it's like that unwelcome guest at your barbecue, that one who won't leave, no matter how many hints you drop. Disappointment. Let me tell you, it's that only employee they never clock in late. This thing, it shows up on time and every time. I mean, it's like clockwork, okay? And let me just be real with you. It is that experience that we have when our expectations are mismatched. You know, they're just like socks with sandals. You know what I'm saying? When we allow that disappointment to just creep on in, when we let that thing invade our minds, when we allow it to take a seat, when we allow it to just kick up its feet, we let that thing into our hearts, we lose that consciousness and we lose it big and we lose it in the big man upstairs. We lose that confidence in God himself. And so we might think that we're losing God's power and presence, but that's not the truth, okay? Because when you think about it, you can't lose what's freely given, y'all. You can't do that. But what happens is we lose sight of it because we get distracted by our own gadgets. We get distracted by what we want, our wants, our wishes. You see, disappointment, typically, it just rolls in with what we expected, right? And what is that? What do we expect? We expected something good. We expected something sweet. We expected something significant. And then when it gets snatched away, it's like you're expecting a gourmet meal and you get served the kid's Lunchable. We want what we want when we want it. But holding on to those letdowns, let me tell you, it's only going to keep you childish. It's only going to keep us childish. It keeps us undeveloped. That's what I'm saying. It keeps us immature. Disappointment is what we're talking about here on Crusade for Christ today. Disappointment. Because that thing, it can be the catalyst for change. Disappointment, it can be the catalyst in transition. It can be the catalyst for so many things in our lives. But let me tell you, it doesn't have to be the boss of us. I mean, disappointment is destructive only when we just steadily infuse that thing with our own micromanaging attempts at control. And we've all seen it. We've all seen it. It's like those parents, they're living vicariously through their kids. They're trying to fix their own past by living out in their children's future. We're talking about that mom who wasn't cheer captain, right? But she's pushing her daughters into those pom-poms. Or that father who missed the major leagues and now he's living his dreams through his son's batting average, right? The parents who sacrifices everything for college, everything for a college dream that isn't even their kids' own. And it doesn't stop there. It doesn't stop there. Listen, disappointment, that thing can twist us up in so many ways. It can twist us up in other ways. Disappointment. It's behind that person, disappointment. That person that's manipulating others for love, for support, for a nod of approval. It's working behind that lady who'd rather play the field than to be one man's queen. Or that guy at work who's just hoarding all the credit. But let me take you back today. Let me take you back to a man who handled disappointment like none other. And I'm talking about the King, Jesus himself, the Son of God. That man from Nazareth, he knew all about it. He walked this earth fully human, feeling what we feel, right? Even though he had divine knowledge, he had a direct line to the big plan. But he knew before he even clocked into this world, he knew that he was going to be rejected by one of his boys who would sell him out for a few silver coins, by another one who would act like he didn't even know it. And yet there would be another who would hit him with a prove it if you're real. Prove it if you're real. But now here's the kicker. Jesus didn't respond. He didn't respond simply because when we look at Hebrews number 4, verse 15, Hebrews 4 and 15, when you look at that, that script is very clear because it says, we do not have a high priest who is unable to empathize with our weaknesses. But what do we have? We have one who has been tempted in every way, just as we are, and yet he did not sin. Now, if that doesn't set the stage for how we handle our business, let me tell you, I don't know what does. I don't know what does, because some folk, we pretend like disappointment don't touch them, right? Right. I got this buddy, and he says, no expectations, no disappointment. Now, that's a famous saying that he uses. You'll hear him say it all the time. No expectations, TK, no disappointments. It's like some folks out there use the expression, no pain, no gain, but that's his expression, right? No expectations, no disappointment. But by doing that, what he's doing is he's giving disappointment the power that it doesn't deserve. And so we've got to face it. We've got to face it, y'all. We've got to own it, right? I mean, we've got to come to terms with the fact that disappointments, they are as sure as a commercial break when that show that you like watching is getting good. But let me tell you, they don't have to destroy us. They don't have to destroy us. No, sir. Now, if you want to talk about a worst case scenario, well, then let's talk about Jesus' arrest. Let's talk about his death on that cross. Because his followers, they felt that, okay? They felt that. And I want to tell you, they had hopes and dreams of a mighty king that would throw down the Roman rule. But they were thinking too small. That's what they were doing. They were thinking too human in their thinking. But Jesus was on another level. And his arrest, his crucifixion, let me tell you something, that wasn't the end game. That wasn't even close. That was nothing but the setup for the ultimate comeback, the resurrection, y'all. So let's not forget that when Jesus was on that road to Golgotha, what did he say? He said to those women weeping for him, he said, daughters of Jerusalem, he said, do not weep for me, you weep for yourselves, and you weep for those children. Now what's going on there? He was pointing them beyond the immediate. He's pointing them to look beyond the temporary, and he's pointing them to look to the eternal, okay? We have to look disappointment right in the eye and see it for what it is. And what is that? What is it? It's nothing more than a season. It's nothing more than a season. It is not the full season. It's nothing but a commercial break during your favorite game show. It ain't doing nothing but setting you up for the big reel, okay? So how do we do this? How do we do this? Well, we've got to hold on to this passage of scripture right here. We've got to hold on to Romans number 8 and verse 28. Romans 8 and verse 28. We've got to hold on to that. Because Romans 8 and 28, it says, and we know that in all things, God works for the good of those who love him, who have been called according to his purpose. Now that's all things, y'all. That's all things, including our disappointments. All things. All things. So let me wrap this up on Crusade for Christ. so you can get to your day and that you can just go and be victorious, right? You know, when I think about it, every show has an end. Every show has an end. And as I close this out, I want to leave you with this. Our lives, they are the most unpredictable game show ever. I mean, we spin the wheel, we choose the door, we paint the box, we check the box, we pick the box, and we don't know what's behind it. We don't. But like any game show, we have an assurance, y'all. We have an assurance. We have a guarantee. And if we're with God, if we love Him, then I want to tell you, every part of the game is working out for our good, even when we face disappointments. I want to tell you, we can't just stand still. What we got to do is we got to take that next step. Because in this game of life, let me tell you something. You don't lose until you quit. You don't lose until you quit. And we are not quitters. We are not quitters. We're more than conquerors. And I want you to remember, our ultimate host, our Savior, our God, He's rooting for us. He is rooting for us, and He's provided us the playbook. He's provided us the lifeline, the final answer. We just got to keep the faith, y'all. We got to keep the faith. We've got to keep pressing on. And when that final buzzer sounds, you know what we'll do? We'll be standing in victory. So let's get out there today, all right? Let's get out there today and not focus on what's been lost, but let's focus on what's to be gained, right? You keep spinning the wheel. You keep choosing the door. You keep pressing forward because the jackpot is still in play and it's bigger than any disappointment. Now I want you to stand up. I want you to stand up. That's what you do. You stand up and you give praise where it's due. You give praise where it's due. Give it up for the King of Kings. Give it up for the ultimate host of this show called life. And let's keep the faith. Let's keep the hope. And I want you to remember, in every season and every disappointment, listen to me. God's got a plan and He's got a purpose for you. God bless each and every one of y'all. I want you to stay encouraged, okay? Stay encouraged. And that's a wrap on today's message. That is a wrap. And what about this? What a ship. What a ship. What a ship. What a fellowship. The gospel fellowship. Let's get it.